Back on Morning Line, our guest with us this morning, Tim Takis, elder care attorney, and just talking about estate planning, setting time aside. The last caller, Jim, had a good question. His mom at her age can afford it, and she's in a very nice nursing home. But as he said, she won't be there a long time, probably considering her age, not like 15, 20 years.
Sure.
Hope she lives a long time, though. Let's go to Brian. Hi, Brian. Are you there, Brian? Brian, we waited through the break. We might have just lost him. We'll come back and see if he just took a step away. But let me ask you this. Sure. The question was after Jim, we talked about what he's doing. What are you going to do? You are the expert at this.
Right.
You are married. You have a lovely wife. You don't have any children.
Right.
But as you both age, and I think you're successful, obviously, but you're not a bazillionaire. What are your plans for when you get older? I mean, do you have the idea of a nursing home if it ever came to that? And I know that's probably your last resort, like for most of us.
I think what I think, and Lynn and I, my wife Lynn and I, we have these conversations, about where are we going to live? What's our life going to look like as we continue to get older?
Right.
And one of the things that we know is that where we're living now is not going to be the last place we live.
Yep.
Unless we just like drop dead or something early.
Yeah.
Early, obviously.
But short of that, where you're at now, you're going to have another place you're going to end up in.
We know because
you're in a house
we have a nice little house. We got like a lot of people, we got a nice little house. But after a while, home maintenance and things like that. It's like right now, fortunately I can afford to pay for some of that stuff.
Now, see, but at some point, you don't want to. You'll pull away, but you can plan for that. Now, the thing that's scary is you can't plan for the X factor, which is you have best laid plans, but then some kind of unforeseen medical condition comes up that drains much of your savings, whatever you had set aside for your plan to sell this and move here and go there. All of a sudden, the X factor, something like that.
Right. See, now I can also say is that I've got both Lynn and I have life insurance policies. We got these years and years ago, where if like I die, the mortgage gets paid for or whatever. But it also has a long-term care rider.
Okay. So it cost you a little bit more to get that?
Right. So it's so we're putting money into the life insurance. It's a whole life policy. So it pays a death benefit, but it also pays for some long-term care expenses. That's the long-term care rider to it. Now a lot of our older clients want to get like a policy they want to get like long-term care insurance, but they're concerned because I'm going to pay long-term care insurance premium, and then I'll die and there's no cash value. Well, that's fine. You don't get cash value on your homeowner's insurance, but but still people say, well, do I have another option? Well, they might pay $100,000 for a life insurance policy or $200,000 that has a death benefit and a long-term care insurance rider. We didn't have to do that because I got it at age 47 or something.
You're thinking ahead of the game.
So we're paying a monthly premium.
Right.
But still the monthly premium is a monthly premium or whatever the monthly premium is. But if I wind up in a nursing home, then we invoke the long-term care rider.
And that kicks in.
And that kicks in. So, and there's a lot of those types of products out there that for people who are looking for long-term care insurance, that are not, they're the hybrid policies is what they're called.
All right, let's go to Faye. Faye, good morning. Hi, Faye.
Good morning.
How can we help you, ma'am?
My mother, before she died, gave me she kept a life estate on some property. Now, she passed away. Do I need to probate that, or does the death certificate automatically transfer to me?
Okay. All right, so let's just set the scene here a little bit. That Faye's mother died, and at the time of her death, she had a life estate in some real property.
So what is a life estate?
A life estate basically means is that Faye's mother, she owned the property, owned the real estate, but only during her lifetime.
All right.
So she had all the incidences of a real property owner, for as long as she lived.
Okay.
So when Faye's mother died, then the life estate went away.
Meaning who owns it then?
Exactly. So it goes to the person who is called the remainder the remainder person or the remainder man.
I don't understand that. Wait a second. This makes no sense. Why would you have a life estate? I mean, I own a piece of property. I kick the bucket. My son gets it. Why doesn't she do it? Well, who sets up a life estate? Why would you do that?
See, if you own real estate now, which maybe you do, is you also have a life estate.
Okay, so that's just what we. If I own a piece of property,
you own a piece of you and your wife own a piece of property, so you own it as tenants by the entirety, meaning as husband and
when
wife.
I die, I no longer own it because I'm dead.
Okay, and then you have a right to do what? Bequeath it to somebody else.
Right.
Well, if you only own the life estate, you don't have a right to bequeath it to anybody because then your interest just vanishes, and then it goes to somebody else. Okay, so this is like real property. This is stuff that we learn in law school.
Haven't I paid for it though?
Yeah, you have.
So why does it go away when I die?
Time out.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, this is confusing stuff.
No, it really is. But this is kind of like when lawyers, we go to law school, of course, and what we learn is that interest in property are like bundles of sticks.
Okay. All right. What do you mean? Okay, are you explain that?
It really is because people think that when you're lay people, when like you go to law school, say I own this. It's like, well, what do you own? What interest do you own?
If I don't own any more money on it and I paid it off, that house is now mine.
Yes, okay, so being yours, what can you do with it?
I can sell it, I can give it to someone, I can live in it.
Can you construct a nuclear plant on it?
I mean, there are certain limits on zoning.
Okay, so you don't own the entire interest of, you can't do anything that you want to. So that means somebody else, like the state, owns, like they have some control over what you can do on it. So
I don't think they could build a nuclear plant on there either.
Exactly.
Unless they wanted to do eminent domain.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying is that you have particular interest on that property.
Okay.
Okay, so you can't maybe you live in a place where you can't paint the house orange as much as some people would want to.
Sure.
Or you can't put mobile homes on it, or 18 different structures, or whatever it is, or.
But that's true of anyone that owns it. Is her life estate any different than what? No, is that something unique and different, or is that just what you call it for everyone who owns property?
Well, if you own the right to if you own a right to the use and occupancy of that property during your life, that is a life estate, and you do.
Okay.
Right? So one portion of the ownership that you have of your property is a life interest. Okay. Now you also own a remainder interest. A remainder interest is that you have a right to bequeath your interest to somebody else.
Okay, so when I die, I leave it
you
for someone
You can
else.
bequeath it to anybody you want.
And that's what happened with her?
No, because her mom owned only a life interest. Somebody else owns the property when she died.
Who would that be?
Faye.
I know. Who else owned the property?
Well, maybe Faye's mother just owned the life interest, and then Faye owned what's called the remainder interest. It came to her automatically when mom dies.
Okay.
Because mom had already given that to her daughter. So let's say. Let's say. Faye's mom says, okay, Faye, I'm going to give you my house, but I'm going to retain a life estate.
Okay.
That's often how that works.
Okay.
Okay, so Faye's mother lives there for her entire life, and then she dies, and then Faye's asking, well, what do I have to do to own that property? And I go, well, she already gave you the remainder interest.
So she doesn't have to worry about probate now.
She didn't have to do anything.
Okay.
She automatically owns it when mom died because she already owned the remainder interest.
Because mom went ahead. Is that a good idea to go ahead and do that? If mom had not given her that interest and let's say just lived in the house and written it into the will, then would that have been more problematic? Still would have gone to Faye. One way or the other, it still would go to Faye.
That's right.
So she doesn't have to really worry about going to probate now.
No, she doesn't have to go to probate. Now, okay, so I realize that we're getting in.
Well, thank you for explaining. I mean, I think I understand.
Okay. Yeah. We're kind of getting in a lengthy explanation of some real estate concept. But, but this lady says, one of the things that she asked, when I was telling you about that family council thing is about we're talking about life estates and whatever it is that, well, should mom give me the house and retain a life estate? Well, for one is if mom did that and she's in the nursing home, that starts a 5-year Medicaid look-back period because mom has given away something of value that she cannot get back.
Right.
Okay. So that starts a 5-year look-back period for Medicaid. And people say, well, I want to do that because if I go into a nursing home, and I've only got a life estate, then the state can't take my house after I die for what they paid because I've already given the house away, and the only thing I won't own anything, so there won't be anything probate. Now, but some states have said they have expanded the definition of probate to include life estates.
Is that what they do in Tennessee?
No, not yet. Not yet. They might.
But in a way, I mean, the whole idea of trying to give your property away to avoid having it taken to pay for what debt you have. I mean, I understand if you're getting cared for by the government and you have some assets, I'm sorry, you may not like the idea of it, but I think you have a responsibility that they can take your house. Why the heck not after you're gone? Am I wrong on that?
They have a right to recoup. They have a right to recoup.
Yeah, I'm just saying the right to recoup because that money goes to help other people.
Subject to limitations. I mean, we've talked about the limitations. If you die and you're married, you're in the nursing home, the state can't recoup
because it goes to your spouse.
Right. Okay. They don't have a right to recoup. And there's limits on that. But you're exactly right. Is that if you own a house and the government says, well, Mrs. Jones, you can keep your house, and we'll pay for your nursing home care. It's $6,000-7,000 a month, and when you die, we have a right to recoup. Okay.
That's a no-brainer. And you try to give the house away. I almost think that's criminal. Yeah. Well, if you try to give it away to avoid paying what you owe the government because they're paying for
basically what that is that it's only criminal if you don't tell.
I'm just saying if you don't. But I think you have a responsibility to pay back your debt. I don't see how people think, well, I should get that for free and get to keep my house. If you have assets, you should spend that to live on. And once those are gone, then maybe the government slides in and helps you, which they do many people who have no assets.
Now, here's what you hear. If you're sitting in my shoes, I'm not hearing it from you, but what I'm saying is that people walk into my office and they say, well, I've been paying taxes all my life and I haven't gotten anything out of it, and all these other people out there aren't paying taxes, and the government pays for their care and I got to pay for my care, and then they take my house anyway and all these other people get it for free. That's what we hear.
Okay, I can see that.
Okay, I'm just telling you what's out there.
And you say what? That's just the reality.
I mean, that's the reality. Okay, so and I always say to people, is that...
Yeah, what do you say to them?
I say, Medicaid is a rules-based program.
Yeah.
All right? It's not for poor people. It is not for rich people. It is for people who qualify for it. Okay? Gotcha. We do not want a program like that in this country where, Nick comes to me, I'm the caseworker, and I'm going, no, you dress too well.
Yeah, you can't have it.
You don't need this.
Yeah. Right.
Right? That's not what we want. That's what Medicaid is that if you meet this if you meet these financial criteria and these medical criteria, you qualify. It doesn't matter how much money or how little money that you have.
Right.
It's just about, do you meet the medical eligibility? Do you meet the financial? It's about rules, and that's what we want in this country.
Yep.
And we all know is that we elect folks up there, to go to state, go to federal government, and they say we want them to make the rules for us. Because we don't want to do it because we want to have someone to blame, right?
Yeah. Or someone,
I remember, some people know, I may have talked about it, is that, from 1990 to 98, I served on our Sumner County legislative body, the county commission. Yeah. And I remember this gentleman from Hendersonville, Dink Newman, he says, they send you up here to vote so they can complain about you. Okay, that's our job. He always told me that. He says, don't abstain unless you have to legally, because people send you up there to vote.
Yeah,
not to not vote.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Unless you have a conflict or something or whatever it is. So I always remember that is that by God, I was told.
That's part of
what I'm supposed to do, and if people don't like it, they can call me and they can vote me out.
Let's take a break on that. When we come back, I like that. Yeah. More of your calls. Stay on hold. Rick and Brian, and we have someone else on there as well. We'll get to them.
Yeah, great.
Liz as well as soon as we come back. Stay with us.